Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio. As you know, I come to you every every Monday. I keep getting that Wednesday and Monday mixed up, but every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. here on Fishbowl Radio Network. So, All About STEM is hoping that everyone is staying in and staying safe. Uh, I just have a question for my audience. If you can sew a button on anything, so can you sew a button on anything? If you can make your own protective mask. I will post a pattern for a mask on the All About STEM radio show's Facebook page. I've been making them for my family, although my family's in Texas and I'm here in Hawaii, so I do have to go to the post office to mail them. But I've found it so simple. And we go back to talk about what our parents taught us as children. I am so happy that my mother instilled in me the ability to sew, so I can sit here and make masks when I'm not teaching my classes. To my 7th grade students here on the Big Island of Hawaii. But I have to tell y'all, I have a guest who is an educator. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm just excited about this opportunity. And first, I want to thank God for the opportunity, and I want to thank him for using you to use me.
Well, hey. He's all-powerful and almighty. So, yes, we are both blessed. So blessed.
Yeah.
So, Ozzie, would you take a little time and introduce yourself to my audience and give them a little bit of your background?
Okay. My name's Ozzie Palmer. I am an educator in Irving ISD. Currently, I teach math and science. I've been an educator for 7 years, but my experience with scholars is pretty extensive. I was a daycare owner for probably 10 years. I've worked with students with major disabilities in group homes. I'm certified in SPED, EC through 12. I'm an ESL teacher as well. Currently, I have a master's degree in education. I also have a master's in instructional leadership. The reason I say that is because I got one more class. Well, one more week in the class, and then I'll have my degree in that. Also, I'm in the principal certification program. And I am working on my doctoral, so I start my dissertation process later on this year. So that's what I do. I love working with kids. My adrenaline rush is when they get excited, I get excited. So that's kind of the thing that got me to working with these kids with this robotics program, because I knew it was something new in STEM, and robotics is an engaging hands-on activities, and the kids they love it. They never really want to stop. So that's a part of my background right there.
Okay. Hey, I can understand the whole robotics thing, because I won't tell you how old I was when I first truly built my first robot. But oh my God, I have been addicted ever since. They are so much fun to build, so much fun to program, so much fun to rework, and it keeps you. Now, you say you teach mathematics and science. Is that what you're teaching now?
Yes, I teach math and science. I also was a reading teacher previously, and then I was a SPED teacher in a behavior unit. But right now, right now I'm a SPED. I'm a math and science teacher. Although I do have some SPED students in my classes, but.
Okay. What grade level do you teach?
I teach 5th grade math right now.
Oh my goodness. That
Yeah.
has got to be fun. Yeah,
Well,
that has got to be fun.
it's some fun days, and there's some days it's not so fun, but I kind of know what I signed up for, so it's okay. What was interesting about my thought process was that a lot of the younger students, they don't have a chance to really get into the robotics and the building until they're like in the 6th or 7th grade. So I kind of scaled it back a little bit. We started building things with the 4th and the 5th graders, but we were building green energy robots. So we was building robots that they actually operated off of green energy. So like these things are operated off of solar power and salt water, right? So the kids were just, once I saw how intrigued they were, I started to expand it, so that's really what Reid Foundation is all about.
And okay, and you get to do that in the classroom. So you just mentioned Reid Foundation. That is your nonprofit. Can you introduce us to Reid Foundation, what it is, how it got started, what inspired you to do this?
Okay. So I used to kind of, take a look at some of the after-school programs that were being offered when I was in New York, and it's sort of like the same things here. I guess I can't really speak negative about anybody's program, but I just felt like I could bring something more. I just felt like my passion and what I knew, I just thought I could bring more to any after-school program. So I started a nonprofit before I moved to Texas, but I didn't actually get the paperwork to operate, the tax exempt, the 501c3 paperwork until I was here in Texas. So I started out from a reading perspective, right? So my goal was to teach kids to read more intently, or maybe more from an intervention standpoint. But the way it transpired was we were reading, but we also were reading about robotics. So it's kind of the literacy. So the literacy piece is tied in it, because the comprehension component has to be implemented to build a robot. So Reid Foundation started out that, our goal was to work with kids to implement strategies to an underserved population. So when I say underserved, I don't want to sound discriminatory, because you can be of any race and be underserved. I mean, we can go in some areas where all types of kids, girls, boys, they have never, ever been exposed to STEM products. And that's what Reid Foundation wants to be about. There's a lot of schools that I've been in, our students don't get a chance to see it. They don't get a chance to touch it. And I knew I couldn't change the world, but I just wanted to touch some students' lives. So that was my passion behind Reid Foundation.
Now, what does READ stand for? Is that an acronym?
Yes, ma'am. That acronym is Revive, Excel, Achieve, Dream. And I just felt so, the guy that helped me with my marketing, we kind of brainstormed some things, and that's kind of how we came up with the logo and the acronym, and, the website and that type of thing. I wanted the kids to dream, and I wanted them to achieve. And I think sometimes a lot of our underserved students, they've forgotten how to dream. Like they're not, so their mind's not expanded enough they haven't been exposed to things that'll make them dream bigger. I wanted to revive them. The revive component came from, look, we're doing something different. I'm energized about it. So my kids, they'll go home and they'll come back the next day and they say, when are we going to work on the robots again? When are we going to do this? When are we going to do that? So I know that I got them revived, like a revival in church. How we try to get our souls revived. So it's kind of like the same thought process. I knew that I could revive the students from a intellectual and from a hands-on perspective, that I just knew they would be great. And I'm seeing great things happening right now. So and you know, when kids learn new things, they kind of automatically excel, right? So I wanted to empower them so they can take what they know and what they learn to another level. So ultimately, it was all about being able to compete in a global workforce at some point in your life, right? Because a lot of the peers, they've been exposed at a younger age in certain areas, and I just wanted to kind of try to level the playing field. And I wouldn't even say it was the achievement gap. I would say it's the opportunity gap. Like, so I feel that our students can do anything that any other student can do. But so many times they're not afforded that opportunity. And that's what Reid Foundation wanted to change.
So based on what you just said, giving them the opportunity, letting them actually build robots, letting them actually do some of these things. If a student participated in your program, what would they actually get to do? What are some of the projects or programs that you have for these young men and women?
Okay, so we have, I'll come back to the robotics and the STEM component.
Okay.
But to give you an example, we did a photography class where I was working with 7th and 8th graders. And so what we did was, with my friend Roger Connor, so what we did was we created, it's sort of like a skit. So what they did was they took pictures and they had to write a story about their pictures. So it was kind of cool because they had the story in their mind and they knew how the pictures would be incorporated into it. So what they did was they took some pictures and they made a story and they presented to each other. So that was a real exciting assignment, activity for the kids, and they loved that. So last year we also did music production, where a couple friends of mine, one's an audio visual tech, and another guy, he's a DJ. He does beats. So I had them come in, and what they did was they let the kids create beats and make songs and just work with all the equipment. And the kids were totally, you know, they were really excited about that. So we did music production. We also fly drones.
Okay, wait. Let's go back to the music production for just a moment. You say the kids got to work with the equipment. What kind of equipment does the organization have that the kids could actually work with? Because that is a huge thing for them to actually touch, feel, and operate a lot of the equipment that's out there.
Okay, so what they had was some audio engineering equipment where I can't think of the name of it, but they could make beats. So like they could make a bass beat, a snare drum beat, a bells and bells, all different kind of beats. What they had was a keyboard. What they had was a keyboard. So they had music production equipment that the guys that I work with, they brought the equipment in. So I didn't actually have the equipment myself. So they actually brought it in. I contracted them in because I certainly can't do everything myself, but I do have some equipment and some things that I do have that I can, you know, we can go anywhere and implement it. So the third thing that we did was we fly drones. So we fly drones with cameras. I actually had kids build drones. So I had this one really huge drone, and now I got a couple other ones, but I had the kids build some drones, and they flew the drones, and they was able to take pictures with the drones, record video, and then we came back and we watched the video of what they actually recorded. And the reason I thought this was important because there's a huge market for pilots to fly drones. It's used in the real estate market. If an individual was going to sell a house and he wanted to show it, we can go up with a drone, fly all around that property, and then that looks real cool when a realtor is showing that video to someone from an aerial shot. You know, you can go in the house and take pictures, but you can't see how bad that roof is in every area unless you get up there, right? So And everybody knows when you buy a house, those are some of the things you really want. That might be one of the most expensive, the most costly things to repair is a roof, and so there's just, and then those same drones are used in law enforcement. So that's what we, those are three other activities. Another activity we did was with the robots. So I actually, we did solar powered robots, which we had a kit, and we built these robots, and there was a slight component of power added to it, but if the panels, if it wasn't a sunny day and the sun didn't hit those solar panels, the robots wouldn't work. So we taught them a lot about solar energy that day. We had some videos. We showed them different things that a solar power components would do. So then after that, we actually had them go out, build these cars, put them under the sun, and they was just blown away that these things were taking off from the solar power. So that was pretty awesome. And then, like I had said before, we did a green energy robot. Well, we built this car, and it had a magnesium strip with a fuel cell, and salt water dropped on this little sheet of paper inside the fuel cell, powers the wheels on the car, and the car takes off. So they learned science with the chemical reaction, and then they also mixed in the engineering component because you had to follow the script step by step to build this thing. And it was great because they were able to collaborate, and they actually, because a lot of times, a lot of kids, they don't get a chance to build something where they feel accomplished about it. I mean, it's a big difference than being in a classroom and you're doing a problem with a friend. But when you build something and you can go back and look at it every day, it gives you a great sense of accomplishment. So that's just really something that I love, that energy in the field that they get when they do something, because like I said, that's my adrenaline rush. They are my adrenaline rush. And
now, you mentioned something earlier about kids coming back and saying, "Are we going to work robots again?" So your organization, the Reid Foundation, it doesn't just cater to, okay, we're going to come, we're going to do something one time, and then we're going to bring in another group. It sounds like to me you have kids that come back time and time again. You work with that kid as they grow up. Is that a good assumption, or can you explain that to me?
Yes, you're right on with that. So I worked at Jubilee Park in Dallas, Texas, for the past 2 years. So I don't know about this year. I don't think anybody know about this summer. But to make a long story short, the kids that I worked with the first year, they were excited to see me come back. So so I work with these kids for about 2 weeks each summer. So when the next day when they come back, they're excited about what we're going to be doing, right? And so they were so excited when they saw me come back last year that they was like, what are we going to build this time? So these kids, they know me because I worked in an after-school program at Orem Roberts, which is down the street from Jubilee. And I was telling them what I was going to do, but I wasn't able to implement it at that time. So, it's all about building relationships with kids. And I think the way that I built a relationship with them, and, it wasn't school, so it was a lot more laid back, where school is more structured. I mean, our activities are structured, but the kids really felt free and loose and just able to make mistakes and know it wasn't consequences. And that's the beauty of an after-school program, is that the pressure's off. So these kids, I work with them for 2 weeks at a time. And the reason I said, when I was talking about, the kids coming back and wanting me to do more, is the after-school program I have at my school. That's I was going to get to that, but so I work with those kids once a week. And that's not enough for them. It's probably not enough for me. Well, it might be enough for me with all the other stuff I got going on. But they just, they're asking me right now, what are we going to do in the summer? Are you going to come to our middle school? We actually went on a field trip to Irving High School, and the kids got a chance to get in the flight simulators. They found out what pilots do. They just did so much that, so they just did so much that the exposure is going to change their trajectory. Like, I know what they're exposed to is going to change the way that they feel about everything, right? And so, those kids, some of them are in my class and some of them are not. So I had 10 boys and 10 girls, a combination of 4th and 5th graders. And we just learned a lot, and we did a lot of great things. So we had a party at the end, but they didn't want robotics to be over. And when I build my school, I'm going to have it embedded as a special. It's going to be, how like they go to music and art and all that, but that's going to be one of my specials. It might be a special twice a week when I open up my school. So that's just one of my long-term goals. It won't be that long. It'll happen for me soon, but that's just a vision of mine right now.
Wait a minute. Wait. Now, we've talked like 3 times, and you had not mentioned that you are considering opening an institution of education.
Well, see, okay, I know I didn't, right? I had already been to Austin. I got all the paperwork. I already know what I got to do. I was at a I already know what I got to do. It's just that I got to free up my time. Well, I didn't say nothing because I don't know. I don't share that with a lot of people. But I guess I'm sharing it with a lot now. But that's my vision. That's my vision, and I want it to be something special. So, I just want it to be a lot of project-based learning. I want it to be real-world applications. I want it to be things that, because at the end of the day, as educators and as adults, everybody's not going to go get a doctorate degree. Everybody's not going to get a master's. Some people are going to stop at the bachelor's level. So we want to equip them, right? So they're able to do all type of things, right? So, it's just like I teach fractions and I talk about perimeter. My kids got to know that they need to know perimeter to build a fence around their house, right? They need to know that if they're going to be a carpenter, they need to know area, right? So these are the things that I try to instill in my kids, in my program and in my classroom, that we're living the real world, right? I'm not teaching you decimals for the test. I'm teaching you decimals. So when you go to the store and you got 4 things that cost $1.89, you're going to be able to estimate what it might going to cost you, how much because I had my kids tell me the guy cheated them at the store. Talking about he didn't give me my right change, but I wasn't really sure. So these are the things where I want kids to be equipped with, just to be well-rounded from an academic standpoint, but also versatile in the things that they can do.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio. If you are just joining us, we have Mr. Ozzie Palmer from the Reid Foundation. And yes, it's spelled like you read, but he is working with young men and women in not only reading, but using that in the STEM arena. And we just finished talking about robots, and he let us in on a little secret, but I'm not going to press him on that too much. But Mr. Palmer, one of the things I want to ask you about is you talk about all the things that the young men and women do. Do you have them work in teams? Working together?
Say that again?
Do you have them working in teams?
Yes, ma'am. Collaboration is a huge component. So I preach collaboration because I feel like anybody that did anything great, they just didn't do it by themselves, right? So I feel like collaboration is everything, right? Because I just think we all have different skills where we could pull on each other from, right? Like when I open my school, I can't be the principal, the secretary, and the teacher, right? So I need to have great teachers, a great secretary, and a great principal, right? So I just feel like when they collaborate and work together, they learn from each other, right? It's almost like having a cooperative learning group. You have one kid that's real high, you have one kid medium, and one kid that's maybe not so medium, right? And they all can learn from each other in one way because we all come with different skills. And that's just collaboration is huge. I never have kids working by themselves. I don't allow it.
Good. Because think about it, when they go to work, let's say they do something in aviation or engineering, they're never going to be totally alone working by themselves. They're going to work with a
Exactly.
team. If they're a pilot, you got a pilot, a co-pilot, and all the other staff that's on the plane, and your air traffic controller. They've got to learn to work in those teams. And I like that because
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I have to press, because kids will say, well, I don't want to work with her because I like working by myself. Well,
Right.
it's not going to always
Exactly.
be like that.
So this is something that I use, and I have kids. Okay, it'll be the first day of school, and a couple of days go by, and they say, well, I don't want to sit by her. Me and her don't get along, and I kind of force them to sit together because the idea is in life there'll be people that we don't get along with, but we have to work with them to accomplish a goal, right?
Yes.
So, and I try to explain that to them, but it's hard for youngsters to internalize that. But they get it when I force the issue, like, no, you have to work with them. No, we're changing seats today. You're going to be in this group because, we live in a diverse society, community, world. So we can't always be with people that look like us, think like us. You know what I'm saying? And another thing about collaboration is it helps students build relationships with each other, because a lot of our underserved youth,
yes,
they don't know how to communicate and talk to each other. I mean, you've been an educator long enough, and we can have some kids having some arguments. Like you were like, wait a minute, are y'all married or something? Why is y'all arguing like that, right? So it's because they haven't really learned how to talk to each other and to disagree respectfully, right? So I let kids know, no, he's not stupid. He just didn't know that. So if he doesn't know something, that doesn't make him stupid. There's things that we all don't know, doesn't make us stupid. So I try to get them to just get along with each other. And my activities are so engaging that I don't have behavior problems, right?
Okay.
It's just that engaging, right? So, and that's why I know my idea for a school, they're going to get the math and the reading and the science and the social studies, but I'm going to use my ideas to make them want to do what I'm talking about with the Reid Foundation. It's going to be almost like a reward for them, right? It's going to be like, man, I had a good day, and this is what I get to do now, So, I'm actually going to do an activity in my classroom next year. I'm going to create innovative activities. Every 2 weeks, they're going to be building something or doing a project, right? So, but they're going to have to work their way up to being able to work on this project. And it's going to be a variety of different things. I'm going to have them building houses, bridges. I mean, we're going to really make it happen next year, because I've been thinking a lot about how I'm going to do different things, with my students. So, I'm just looking forward to great things with Reid Foundation and just supporting our scholars all together.
Okay. Now, we talked about the kids working in teams. I know you don't do all of this by yourself. So,
No.
can you tell us a little bit about your team, the people within the Reid Foundation that have been, your backbone and that help you out a lot, or you help them both ways?
Okay, so what I'm doing this year in the after school program, I have a teacher working with me. Her name's Mary Chabot. She's been a great help. The girls really love her, because this year was the first year that I worked with girls in school. Now, I'm gonna get back to what you had asked me. I actually did some work with Mu Delta sorority, which they're all girls out. We're out in Richardson, and I was doing activities with them. And then once this COVID hit, I had stopped doing activities with them. But we're doing STEM activities virtual, actually, a couple weeks ago. So I worked with 10 girls out there. But so I didn't have a lot of people working with me. So as far as physically working with the kids. So I had Miss Chabot working with me this school year. We worked for about 3 months doing robotics. So when I was working before, I had staff that was actually hired by the organization I was working with. They work with me. Now, on my actual ReFoundation team, I have Scott Andrews. He does my marketing. He built my website for me. He does a lot of stuff for me. I also have my sister, Deborah. She is like the IT person. She advises me on different components in reference to information technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so us three have been working. Now, I am looking to expand as far as board members,
Mm-hmm.
people with expertise in any area, people that can bring something great to the organization, whether it be ideas or not. Now, I feel like I do a lot of work, but I also feel like this is my baby, right? So I don't have a whole lot of issues with that. But at some point, I want to be able to do more thinking than working, if that makes any sense, right? So I want to be able to think about what I'm going to do next and have some viable resources. So like I'm looking for like volunteers, I had some teenagers that was working with me pretty good last year at Jubilee, and I'm looking forward to empowering somebody. I want somebody to have some power. I want somebody to be empowered so they can do what I do, right? So then they can say, hey, I can run this program now, Mr. Palmer. I got it. Go ahead and work on your other venture. Let's set this up over here, that type of thing. Because if I'm doing all the work, then it's hard for me to branch out. And then there's also the financial component. None of this is cheap and none of this is easy, right? So, I've spent thousands of dollars on this program right out of my pocket. And nobody really gave me much of nothing. I'm just going to be blunt about it. But I just know that it'll pay off for me, in the long run, because the kids are getting it's priceless anyway, right?
Yeah.
So, I have big visions. I'm a big visionary as far as the way I want things to look. But that's pretty much my team, So I also had a friend of mine, Diedrich. He worked out with me real good. But what I need mostly is people that are strong and dedicated, right? When I say strong, I mean strong as a not physically strong, but mentally and emotionally strong to deal with how we're going to get these kids where we need them to be, right? So that's what I'm looking for. But I can collaborate with anybody. It's not as easy to collaborate as one would think, because you think people would be like, oh, yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, come work with us. No, it don't work that way. It doesn't. So.
Well, I'm going to let you put this out there now. You've mentioned that you need volunteers. And I know right now with COVID going on, we don't have a lot of, need but to communicate those ideas. So if someone wanted to contact your organization, volunteer with your organization, communicate with you, what is your website, Instagram page, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, your social media, how would someone connect with you?
Okay, so my website is www.leadtoachieve.org. Lead to Achieve is one word, LEADTO, and sometimes we have trouble with that word achieve. That I got to go before the E. ACHIEDE, right? .org, right? Leadtoachieve.org. All lowercase, right? So my email is care300@yahoo.com, or you can say care300@gmail.com. Those are my two emails. Now on Facebook, I'm at Achieve, the number 2, Dream. Achieve, the number 2, Dream. If you type that in, you'll see my logo come up. Red, white, yellow, and blue logo. Looks like a puzzle. It's got Reid Foundation underneath it. There's several different Reid Foundations on there, but none of them, their logos don't look like mine or anything like that. Reid Foundation, I'm on Instagram, Reid_FDN. Reid_FDN. I'm on Twitter, Reid Foundation at Palmer Ozzie. So, I'm always putting out different content. I have a blog on my website. I'm getting ready to do some more things with my website. I'm just trying to, because I'm that guy that always says, what's next, right?
Yes.
So, so I might be doing something, and when I'm done, I'm like, okay, what's next, right? So I'm the what's next guy, and so I'm always looking to improve. I try to stay on the cutting edge of technology. I don't know everything, but I try to find out what's new and what's going to support our kids, and because we can't fall behind, because if I fall behind, the kids are going to be lacking something when they get out there in the real world. So, So once again, it's ACHIEVE, achieve.org. And Facebook, Achieve, the number 2, and it's Dream. Instagram, RDN_, I think I said it wrong the first time, RDN_FDN, but you'll see my logo when you type in Reid Foundation. And on Twitter, it's Reid Foundation at Palmer Ozzie. And on LinkedIn, it's Reid Foundation as well. So, we also just trying to support the scholars in any way we can. So if anybody's interested in doing anything to help us, I could tell you how you could do that as well.
Okay. When you have time, will you email me all of that information so I can make sure I share it with the audience so they can communicate and get contact you when they as they're looking to either volunteer or find something for their young men and women to do, or people can also donate to Reid Foundation, can't they? Somebody wants to donate because, you just mentioned that your out-of-pocket cost. So they can donate at the website, leadtoachieve.org.
Leadtoachieve.org, yes. And so one good thing about it, we're 501c3. So when you donate, you save that receipt, and it'll be a tax deduction. So, if we all know how taxes work, you won't get a total deduction because it doesn't work like that with any deduction that you make to a charity, but you give it to a good cause, and there's a tax benefit. So, like I said, I'm trying to take this to another level. I don't want to be a run-of-the-mill after-school program. I've seen too many of them where kids sit around, cry, pouting. They don't get their homework done, don't none get done. Their mom come pick them up. They still mad, right? So that's what we're trying not to do. We're trying to build something so that it'll be generational. So when I'm long gone, this can be my legacy, right? So I'm just trying to make Reid Foundation something great.
Now, give me some insight, other than the fact you're looking at a school, some insight to what the future of Reid Foundation. I know you said you've worked with some after-school programs, you've worked with some summer programs. Can you tell us a little bit about those, and then what are you looking as far as the future of the Reid Foundation being?
Okay, so the future for Reid Foundation is expansion. And when I say expansion, I mean to reach as many kids as possible, right? So I want to try to get into some of the schools, and I want to build a strong, cohesive team where I can say we're going to work with 4th graders, 5th graders, 6th graders, 7th graders, all the way up to when they're getting ready to graduate. Once I get enough clients, I'll be able to promote a cybersecurity curriculum where we're going to be teaching kids about cybersecurity. And the reason I said that is because that's where my sister comes in at, because that's what she does, right? The IT person I had mentioned. So we're looking to expand and to reach kids right where they are, where they are. So, for instance, not every kid can work with every kind of robot, right? We know because some robots, there's coding and the engineering components, the building and all that is a little more complex. So we want to, even if we got to do things from a beginning perspective with some students, we want to build up their technical, science, engineering, and mathematical and art skills. So that's my goal to Reid. I want Reid Foundation to be like the Y or the Boys and Girls Club, but I want it to be with a different spin. So I want it to be, I don't want it to be that normal thing, because normal's not working for us, right? So, I won't say the education system is broken, but what I will say, there's some things that might be missing, if that makes any sense, right? Because we do get great kids from our current system, but it needs to be enhanced, right? Yeah. And so my thing is, this is what I want Reid Foundation to do. I want Reid Foundation to be that outlet. So we're also talking about social emotional health, right? Because we know some of our underserved students are having issues with social and emotional components, because I don't think a whole lot of us have reached out to them in a way without being authoritative, so I deal with this a lot, right? Kids say, I know he's mean. No, you don't even know me. I'm not mean. It's because of that stigma, that stereotype, right? So we want to be role models, and we want to help them with their social emotional health, and we also want to be able to give them an outlet, right? Say, well, I just want to go to Reid Foundation. I like their activities. They're fun, and they just got great leaders over there. And I want my kids to be able to do what I'm doing one day.
Yes.
Like I'm building something, and I want them to be able to build that as well, right? So if we don't equip them now, by the time they get into the 10th and 11th grade, it's too late, right? So my goal is, most middle schools start with robotics programs in the 6th and the 7th grade, and not all kids can get into those programs, right? But in some areas, they start in the 2nd grade, and these kids are building these little robots, right? So my thing is, I want to be that guy to make a difference in my environment, right? So I just want expansion. I want to be in more than Texas. I want to be in New York. I want to be in North Carolina. I want to just touch them all, every state. And that's my vision. I want to be in a lot of states. I just want to make a difference.
And, that sounds commendable and commending, because you've got to reach out there. Some people want to stay in their own little niche. And, and I love the fact that you talk about the social emotional portion, because so many kids will tell you, you'll ask them, well, why don't you take a STEM class? Well, I'm not smart enough. Who told you you're not smart enough? Well, nobody told me. I just don't think I'm smart enough. Because I'm not good at math and science. That does not mean you're not going to be good in a STEM program or a STEM class, because STEM is big. It's not just doing robots or becoming a doctor or becoming an engineer. There are so many other avenues and thought processes. STEM is the thought. It's the process. It's all of that. Because someone asked me not long ago, is writing important in STEM? And I was floored. Is English important in STEM? Yes, it is. But
exactly.
Now go ahead on.
So this is another goal of mine, right? A lot of times our students, our underserved students, I keep emphasizing that, and a lot of because I'm just giving an example, right? The girls that I work with on Saturdays at the Mu Delta sorority, I had girls that had never used a screwdriver, right? Now I know that, so I know that screwdrivers are male dominated. Men are always been the ones that work on cars, and and I'm old enough that I get it. I get that, right? I'm older. But what I'm starting to find out through my many travels is that most of our women that most of our female students are more focused, right? So you're gonna tell them something, and most of the time they're gonna get it and get to work. With the boys, it's like a tug of war, right? So, and the reason I say that because there's I think it was 3.5 million STEM jobs that go unfilled.
Yes.
And not all of these are jobs that are master's degrees or kids have been in school for 4 years. Yes. It's just that they had the right training and the right people to push them and show them things. They're able to excel. And once they get in the program, they want to take it a little further. And you ain't got to ask them to go to college, right? So I just think that this is just another alternative for students, because I understand that everybody's not going to be a STEM engineer. I get it. I mean, I understand that everybody's not going to like building robots, but we need to give them options. At the end of the day, it's not embedded in every curriculum throughout, I'm not going to say the United States, in some of the underserved areas, right? It's not embedded or it's not stressed, right? Because I know that these STEM jobs will not only change lives, they will change communities, the kind of money they make. Yes. I mean, just that alone, So I kind of get the whole idea about, well, we don't offer that because of this, but we're in America, and $1 million is not a lot for our government or for even our state government. And I think we need to invest more to just have our kids ready, and that's just kind of how I feel about it.
You're so right, because I mean, look at what we have going on right now with
exactly
online education, and you're a teacher. I'm teaching right now. I mean, I haven't always been a teacher because I spent far too many years in the military and then went into corporate world. But
right.
Having teachers have to go 100% online is not easy. I've always had my classes online because I've had kids who couldn't come to school because of one reason or another, or I've had kids when I taught internationally that they always had technology in their hands, but to go from that to bam, you can't come back to school until whatever. You've got to be able to do your classes online. Some teachers weren't prepared. Some parents weren't prepared. A lot of kids were not prepared. So how can we streamline that? And, those kids are going to have to think in that future.
Yes, and I just feel like every household should have the internet, like every household needs electricity. Like every household should have the internet, right? And it's easy to say, well, they should be able to afford that, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about a need that needs to be met. And I don't know what anybody can afford, because sometimes we're a little jaded because we can do something and we think everybody else can do it, right? But that's not how that works. And I just feel like, we got kids that didn't have devices or internet, and I just feel like that, as a nation, we should there's some infrastructure issues that we need to confront, right? And and I'm not going to point the finger at anybody about the current situation, because I just feel like, there's some things we're not going to be able to control. But what I will say about this is that we need to do better, right? And I'm just saying, I feel like me and any educator, we need to do just a little bit more for our kids to get them ready, because at some point they got to step out there, right? And they got to go, right? So, and I just think, I mean, nothing that I'm doing is novel. It's not unheard of. It's not this greatest creation. I don't have a patent on it. But what I do have is the passion and the desire. And I just feel like I can do something to support and strengthen and empower our students. And I'm doing that, and I'm going to continue to do that, because that's just how I feel.
And that is outstanding. We are quickly coming to a close, but...
Oh, okay. I ain't even gotten an award yet.
Huh?
Go ahead. I said I didn't even get an award yet. I'm just going on a tangent, right?
That's okay. I'm giving you the warning. But Ozzie, you are amazing. The Reid Foundation is amazing. And there's one thing you did not totally share with my audience. You said that you've had
Okay.
programs in Dallas, but you are based out of
Irving, Texas. Yes, ma'am.
Irving, Texas. So I want them to make sure they understand that and they know where you are. And y'all can look him up by going to Lead to Achieve. Make sure you put the I before the E.org on his website. And there you will see the projects and programs that he's doing. You'll see his staff. Sounds like you bring in some awesome people
Yes.
for your programs, and they're fully equipped to work with our young men and young women, and you have a vision. So, Ozzie, don't let this be the last time you're on my show. You hear me?
No, definitely not. I was already thinking about the next one just as I was standing here. But also, I've actually been back to New York. I did a STEM workshop for some adults because I thought it's important that, and I know we're running out of time, it's important that we know that some adults are not abreast of STEM. And if you're
Right.
going to teach kids in an after-school setting, you need to know what the kids are going to be dealing with so you'll be able to help them. So I've done STEM workshops in different places. I'm willing to come anywhere. Me and my team are willing to come to do whatever you need. You might say, you know what, Mr. Palmer, I need you to come to Philadelphia and run a program over here for me. Guess what? We'll be there. As long as it's amicable and we can set it up, I'll make it happen.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to All About STEM Radio. I come to you every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Texas time, although it's 2 to 3 p.m. Hawaii time because that's where I am. And hey, I want y'all to stay safe. And as I said at the beginning of the hour, if you can sew a button on a shirt, you can sew your own protective mask. And I will share a pattern of that with you on the All About STEM Radio Show's Facebook page. And thank y'all for listening. And until next week, this is Dr. Mary Payton on Fishbowl Radio Network. Bye-bye.